Welcome. With me is Andriette Tron. She's Head of Research at PPS Investments, and we're talking about the PPS Global Balanced Fund of Funds. Andriette, welcome.
Thank you, Theo.
The PPS Global Balanced Fund of Fund, what is it?
It's an actively managed fund that is ZAR denominated, that can only invest in international markets with a maximum allocation of 75% in equities.
The methodology, how do you make decisions?
So in this fund, we follow a building block approach. Given that it's got a composite benchmark, we only allocate to specialist fund managers, and the combination of these managers will then show or represent our asset allocation decision.
And they are responsible for the underlying performance within that asset allocation decision of yours?
Yes, so each of the underlying managers will have a mandate to outperform their respective asset class indices.
Now, it's a wide field. How does one navigate through that?
The most important thing when investing offshore is to mitigate South Africa, or to reduce South Africa's specific risk, and to gain exposure to the large universe that is available, and to invest in companies and even industries that's not available in South Africa. And here we can think about the biotech and large tech companies as examples. Just to give you a little bit more context here, is that the value of every one of the largest 5 companies in the world is more than the combined value of all the stocks listed on the JSE. As part of our global strategy, we've partnered with an international manager, Capital Group, for the PPS Global Equity Fund. Now, during the lifetime of this strategy, which is more than 40 years, Capital Group managed to deliver strong returns through different market events. The reason they were so successful in delivering strong returns through different market events is not because they managed to time the market or had a very specific investment style that happened to be in favor at the time, but was because they were able to take a long-term view and to ensure that the portfolio, given their very unique portfolio construction process, to deliver or to have a well-diversified portfolio.
Now, what does one need to keep in mind when diversifying offshore in a portfolio?
Given changes in regulation, investors can now allocate up to 45% of their portfolio to offshore markets. So we also made changes to our long-term strategic asset allocation. So at neutral equity allocation, we will now have an equal weight between South African equities and international equities. Now, we believe that the South African equity market is highly concentrated. So this change, by reducing South African equities relative to global equities, will ensure that we reduce the South African specific risk in our portfolios. As a multi-manager, we use South African and international asset managers, and we are very excited to be able to capitalize on this bigger universe now available to us. And we also look forward to see how South African multi-asset managers can now further differentiate themselves.
Let's quickly get back to it, and we touched on it. The PPS Balanced Global Fund of Funds versus the PPS Global Equity Fund. What's the difference?
The PPS Global Balanced Fund is a multi-asset solution that can invest in international markets. The PPS Global Equity Fund is managed in partnership with an international equity manager, Capital Group. Now, this is an equity-only fund that can invest in companies from or listed in emerging and developed markets. Now, Capital Group's got a very unique approach to portfolio construction. The portfolio is managed by a team of portfolio managers, where the expectation is that each individual portfolio manager will manage his or her slice of the fund according to the portfolio manager's individual investment style. So the thing that makes this fund different is that it's a single managed solution, but provides the necessary investment style diversification similar to a multi-managed solution.
That's quite unique. I must say I've never seen that before in operation. But let's go back to these two funds: the PPS Global Balanced Fund of Fund and the PPS Global Equity Fund. What's the benchmarks of these two funds?
So the benchmark for the PPS Global Equity Fund is the MSCI All Country World Index. And compared to the PPS Global Balance Fund of Fund, this fund is managed relative to a composite benchmark, which is 60% international equities and 40% international bonds.
Where would the PPS Global Balanced Fund of Fund fit into a portfolio?
So this portfolio is suitable for investors who want to gain exposure to international markets but do not wish to be fully invested in equities. If you want to be fully invested in equities, then the PPS Global Equity Fund is a viable option.
Henriette, thank you very much.